Well, hello there, everybody out in social media world. My name is Joe, owner and operator, and the one that wears the pouch at Not Your Average Joe LLC. I am a Canadian siding installer, fairly new to Washington State. I've been here about a year in operation, and as we all know, it's tough getting a business started in Washington State from scratch. What I offer as a siding installer that seems to differ from the standard here, but nonetheless, what I offer is a guarantee, a warranty on all my work. And I offer what we consider in Canada a lifetime guarantee, which is 25 years on all my work, right down to caulking. What I offer in installation is a proper envelope. In Canada, everything is very, very much governed and inspected at every step of the way, and there's reasons for it, and we learn the reasons for it. So what I offer is a Canadian requirement met envelope, which I tend to use Tyvek. The reason I use Tyvek is because I've been in business for in the neighborhood of 15 to 18 years, and I've never once had it fail. So there's no sense in using something that you know works absolutely wonderfully. I've never had it fail, never once. So I use a Tyvek product as envelope. I double wrap every corner on the house. When I say double wrap that, prior to wrapping my house, I do a 12 by 12 wrap on every single corner of the house, so you get extra protections, because my corners get hand nailed and I want that extra protection of waterproofing there. What people don't understand, it seems, is waterproofing has nothing to do with the siding. Your cladding should not be what keeps your house dry. It should definitely help, and it'll keep it 99.9% dry, but it's not what you should be relying on to keep your house dry. You should be relying on the envelope, the paper job, the window prep, and the paper, and how it's completed. So for myself, it's always a Tyvek product. I used to use Typar. I don't even know if they use Typar anymore, but I don't use any of this new age stuff. They're using stuff with texture, this and that. No, I won't use it. There's no need to use it. I'm not saying it's a bad product. What I'm saying is I know something that works guaranteed, so I'm not going to change. If I want to keep my house dry, I know Tyvek will keep it dry. I know Tyvek breathes properly. It's engineered to wick moisture away from your house and to shed moisture off your house. So I know how it works, and I trust it because I've used it for many years. Now, once your envelope is done properly, all of my horizontal overlaps, everything is positive overlapped. Every horizontal overlap, minimum of 6 inches. Every vertical overlap, minimum of 12 inches. I generally wrap my do it on my corners so that they end up getting sometimes 2 and 3 layers of protection. Primary flashing, through wall flashing, mandatory with end dams. I noticed there's no end dams happening down here. I can't for the life of me understand it. The whole purpose of a flashing is so that water runs down your wall, down your envelope, and you want it to shed off your wall. So it runs down your paper, your flashing's underneath your paper, and then it runs out over your window. End dams mandatory, and that end dams keep that water from running down the side of your window trims and the side of your windows, creating rot. And what I can assure you is here in Washington State, not using end dams is creating a lot of window rot. I've been doing re-and-re's, trying to keep myself busy, and I'm noticing everything that I do differently as far as envelope and waterproofing is exactly why I'm doing replacements, because I can't find work. But nonetheless, end dams, minimum of 5/8. Some people use 3/4. I don't use 3/4. I find 5/8 looks good. The end dam measurement actually comes from a precipitation formula. In British Columbia, it's kind of standard to use a minimum of 5/8 end dam. We have the same precipitation here in Western Seattle, so I use the same. I'm using the same formula as to get the 5/8 end dams, but minimum of 5/8 end dam. Primary over the window through wall. Trim, primary or secondary through wall above my trim. Every single opening, every door, window, I don't care what it is, it should have 2 through wall flashings. Now, once I've got all my through wall flashings and my trims done, I rain screen the entire house. Now, rain screen is something that I don't see governed here. I've never, in 15 to 18 years in Canada, there are certain provinces where it's not yet government mandatory that you have to use rain screen on vertical lap siding, I believe, but it's mandatory on panel. However, there's nowhere in Canada that doesn't use rain screen. It's absolutely mandatory, and I can't for the life of me understand anybody that would side a house and not use rain screen. The purpose of that rain screen is so vital. That's what keeps your house breathing. It's what keeps your house from getting moldy. It's what keeps moisture from rotting all of your plywood, all of everything. And like I said, the main waterproofing actually comes from the envelope itself. That's where I put my care here at Not Your Average Joe. I put my care into the envelope to ensure it's waterproof. But nonetheless, rain screen is minimum. 1/2-inch rain screen. I use a perforated metal bug screen. I don't use the regular screen. And like I say, we've got through walls done properly above every window, every opening, hose bib, you name it. Everything's through wall flashed properly with a 5/8 end dam and bug screen. Every single opening. Every band, same thing. The band sits on the rain screen, and then the rain screen stops above the band, and you have a through wall flashing there, and then your rain screen and bug screen continues up from there. This is standard practice with Not Your Average Joe. Anybody that wonders why you see walls that look kind of moldy and dim, and you notice the studs going up and down, that's because there's no rain screen. They're holding moisture behind it, and it's rotting. I've had people come to me worried about their caulking not being completely 100% sealed and worried about a bit of moisture going through the caulking. That should never be an issue. Now, you definitely don't want moisture going through your caulking. You should take your time to do your caulking properly and well. However, if a bit of water does get through that caulking, it should not be in any way, shape, or form a worry, because it should go to that back envelope, which is waterproof, with the rain screen that moisture all runs down the wall and out the bottom, and that's what it's engineered to do. That being said, this plays a key role in energy, your heating and cooling, your mold. Another thing that Not Your Average Joe, soffit on every house. To me, not putting soffit on a house is equal to painting your lumber inside your house and calling it drywall. Like, it's unfinished. I don't make sense out of it. Here at Not Your Average Joe, always rain screen, always soffit, always done according to the Canadian model, essentially, to which is governed and tried, tested, and true, engineered. There's a reason for all of these things, and I could get further into those details. However, I got to keep this under 10 minutes, but Not Your Average Joe LLC, Sidingjoeboo at gmail.com, 206-608-2155. Feel free to reach out. My numbers are anywhere from $375 to about $550, depending on application. 18 years experience. If you want your house done properly and to look outstanding in comparison to the rest of Washington state, have not your average Joe do your house.